What's going on, everybody? It's Jay here from Nerd Takes, and today I wanted to give you my take on Deadpool and Wolverine. The much anticipated third installment of the Deadpool franchise, and the first one under Disney in the MCU, Deadpool and Wolverine, is finally in theaters, and it is certainly creating a ton of buzz for the studio. Now, I myself am somebody who's been a huge fan of the first three phases of the MCU, but I haven't liked about 90% of what they've done post Endgame. And even with that general lack of caring about what they're up to these days, this was one that I've had my eye on as something that I felt looked good in the trailers and in general had high hopes that it would be a good movie and one that was just a fun summer blockbuster. Now, having finally gotten the chance to see it, I'm happy to say that it met my expectations. I genuinely enjoyed this movie. It's one that's everything a summer blockbuster should be. Now, that doesn't mean it's a perfect movie. There are a couple of things I would have liked to have seen done a bit differently. But in terms of what a blockbuster should be and the feeling you should have watching one, this one is a great example of that being done right. For all the movies and shows that we've gotten in phases 4 and 5 that I haven't liked, my main point of what should be done in order to correct the quality of these products has been to keep it simple. Give us the characters we love, with baseline decent writing in terms of story and dialogue, add some good action, and make it fun. It's really that simple of a formula. And it's one that the MCU was known for in its first three phases. And every so often, they'd even give you a movie that had just a little bit more to offer in the writing department, which was always great. But for one reason or another, it's a formula they've gotten away from lately. Well, with this movie, they did exactly what I had been wanting them to do all this time. They hit all those points of what I've been looking for from the MCU since No Way Home, so I have to give credit where it's due there. This was definitely a return to form, so to speak. What I liked most about this movie, and it's actually something that breaks down into a few things that they did well, was just how fun it was to watch. Now, I know that's a bit of a vague way to put it, but it's accurate. From the humor to the action to the characters, it was just a really fun watch that made it easy to fall into some escapism for a couple hours and just enjoy the show. Now, breaking that down even further, I'll start with the humor. I thought it was a very funny movie. The jokes were on brand for Deadpool and the Deadpool movies. They were at times just flat out ridiculous and vulgar, but in a way that works with the character, as well as at times even a little bit clever, which was nice to see. Some of the jokes even poked fun at the MCU as a whole and the state that it's currently in, which made me, as a frustrated fan, appreciate that they had a level of self awareness about where exactly they've taken this cinematic universe since Endgame. Overall, I either chuckled or flat out laughed out loud quite a bit during this one, which is exactly what you'd want from a Deadpool movie. Then we had the action in the film, which was all well done in my opinion. Right from the opening sequence all the way to the end, it's packed with some fun action scenes that are smoothly done as well as very graphic in the way that you'd expect from this franchise. Some of it will make you laugh, other parts will make you cringe in that, oh, that was kind of gross type of way, but all of it's going to entertain you, which to me is the most important part. And effects wise, because there is a lot of them that goes with these scenes, it all looks really good. Moving on to what was probably my favorite part of the movie, I have to mention the characters. For starters, the two main stars, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, do a great job at reprising their roles as Deadpool and Wolverine. The chemistry between the actors as friends in real life comes through really well in these roles. Plus, the contrast of the two personalities of Deadpool and Wolverine makes for a really fun, odd couple type of superhero pairing. On top of their performance, there's a good amount of cameos that show up in this, which are all handled really well and don't feel like a cheap marketing attempt to drum up excitement for the film, like Multiverse of Madness, for example. And what I mean by that is no one gets turned into a pile of spaghetti for no reason in this one. Instead, the cameos are actually fairly surprising and, most importantly, respectful to the characters and the actors who played them. This made their appearances in the film feel like more than just a way to get people talking, but a way to pay respects to what they've contributed to the superhero genre. Now, this is a spoiler free review, so I can't say who these cameos are, but I can say I think fans will really enjoy them for the most part. Now, there were a few things that I thought could have been done a little bit better in this film. And full disclosure, some of these things are me being a little bit picky because none of these things hurt the movie for me overall, but I have to be honest and point them out as I saw them. One thing that I wish we saw just a little bit more of was the villain. I thought that she was fine overall. It was definitely a bit of a return to the villain without a lot of depth that we're used to from the MCU, which compared to the more recent and overdone trend of villain we're meant to sympathize with, it was a bit refreshing. I thought that the actress who played Cassandra Nova, Emma Corrin, had a lot of charisma and did really well in the role. Her powers were handled very well visually. I thought it actually made for one of the cooler looking effects of the film, but it would have been nice to see her character have just a bit more depth to her. And then the only other thing I had to pick out was that there's a little bit of a slow pacing issue as well. I'll have to watch it again to really pinpoint exactly where it suffers from it the most. But somewhere between the second and third act, it feels like it's taking just a little bit too long to progress. So by the end of the movie, it feels like it's longer than the just over 2 hour runtime that it actually is. But again, this wasn't something that hurt the movie for me. It was just a bit noticeable. But outside of those few things, I really don't have much to say that I wish was done better with this one. Overall, it was everything that a summer blockbuster should be, and exactly what I've been saying Marvel needed to get back to in order to have a film that has a chance at the success they've seen in the past in terms of box office. Now, there's been quite a bit of talk about whether or not this movie can save the MCU, which is something that I'd like to get into further in another video. But in terms of this individual movie's quality and potential for success, I do think that Marvel has a good one on their hands here with a high chance of making the box office splash that they used to make regularly. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back again with another review soon.